Good evening. Welcome to Current Affairs. Today, I would like to discuss with you with respect to Parliament sovereignty versus judicial supremacy. So, these are the concepts that were under discussion in India for a quite long period of time. For example, if you look at India, the constitution has given powers in the form of three different organs. That's the reason why we have legislature, executive, and judiciary. So, and these three organs, so they are supposed to exercise their functions in their respective realms. That's the reason why legislature is a lawmaking body, executive is the law implementation body, and finally, when it comes to judiciary, judicial is the law interpreting authority. So we have a system called federation in India, where we have the division of powers. That's the reason why. So we have two types of legislatures in the country. One at the union level, that is called parliament. Second one, in each state and in few union territories, we have the legislatures. So the constitution has given the powers of making the laws to two different organs in the country. So one is at the parliament, which can make the laws for the entire nation. Number two, the state legislature will make the laws for that particular state. So this is what exactly is the scenario. Similarly, when you talk about executive, executive is also of two kinds. One is the union executive headed by the Prime Minister of India. Of course, as per the constitution, it is the President of India, but real powers are exercised by the Prime Minister. Similarly, in each state, you have real power vested in the form of the chief ministers. So the constitution has given the powers like this. So there is a division of powers with respect to legislature and also with respect to the executive. But when it comes to judiciary, it is the integrated judiciary what we have in the country. What do you mean by this? If you look at the provisions in the constitution, every law that is made by the state legislature cannot be questioned by the parliament. Every action that is taken by the state executive cannot be questioned by the union executive. So there is a complete division of powers most of the times. So union government will be more powerful only when the situations are going out of hand as far as the state government is concerned. But when it comes to judiciary, this is the integrated judiciary. Starting from the local level court till the apex court in the country, that is Supreme Court, this is the integrated judiciary. So every decision or the judgment that is given by the lower court can be challenged in the upper court, and whatever the upper court says, that will become final. So again, if you still want to go to the higher court, you may go, and finally we can reach to the level of the Supreme Court. So, so this is the integrated judiciary. That's the reason why the concept of federation is not applicable to the judiciary, which is applicable to other two organs of the government, that is the legislature and executive. And we also know, I told you so many times, we follow the concept of parliamentary form of government, where the prime minister is powerful for the nation and chief minister exercises the real powers at the state level. So this is what is happening as far as the India is concerned since the beginning. Now, so the idea is that each organ of the government, legislature, executive, and judiciary, each one is expected to perform its responsibilities within its realm. Meaning, within your boundaries, if you start doing everything in accordance with the provisions of the constitution, you are not giving opportunity to other organ of the government to interfere. And the constitution has not given any supremacy to any authority in India. Legislature, executive, and judiciary all are exercising co-equal powers. But The idea of the separation of the powers is that whenever any organ is going wrong, the other organ has every right to point the fingers and to rectify that mistake. So, this is what is expected by the constitutional fathers in India, expecting that everything is going very, very smoothly. But unfortunately, various issues have raised in India. Starting from day number one, even today also, there is a conflict between the parliament and the judiciary. Who is more powerful? And what are the areas where you can enter? What are the areas where the parliament can decide about the judiciary? So, recent example, let me tell you, by amending the constitution, we wanted to create National Judicial Appointments Commission. Constitution has been amended by the parliament. Required number of state legislatures also adopted the same thing. Finally, the President of India has signed and that amendment became an act. But before it is notified by the government, cases have been filed, petitions have been filed in the Supreme Court. Is the creation of NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission, is in any way is the violation of the basic structure of the Constitution? According to Supreme Court of India, independent judiciary is one of the basic structures of the Indian Constitution. So that should not be violated. And after hearing for a period of time, the Supreme Court of India made it very, very clear that this NJAC, the amendment which was done by the parliament and also supported by the required number of state legislature, is considered to be null and void. So this is what happened after the President of India has signed. So what can be done? So what should I say here? So can I say that the judiciary is more supreme? If I am saying judiciary as more supreme, then what are the powers of the parliament? Every act that was done by that is made by the parliament can be questioned in the court of law, and the court of law has every right to nullify that particular law. If this is the case, what happens? That's the reason why the so-called the domination of these two organs of the government was existing since beginning. But don't forget, kindly don't forget one thing. I told you so many number of times to you in the class that our executive in India, since we are the parliamentary form of government, our executive is a part of the legislature. Do you agree with this? Our executive is a part of our parliament. Meaning, for example, here, President is a part of the parliament. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and the President put together is called the parliament. And you have the Prime Minister of India, and you also have various ministers. And every minister, including Prime Minister, must be a member of the parliament. Hope you remember all these points I was telling you. So when I was talking about the Indian polity, because of any reason, if any person is not a member of the parliament, even then he can be appointed as a minister, but within a period of 6 months, he has to become a member of either of the houses of the parliament. So this is what we have understood, meaning if not now, within 6 months, the minister has to become a member of the parliament. Otherwise, he is ceased to be a minister. This is what the constitution says. What I want to tell you today is that the so-called the executive is a part of the parliament. That's the reason why. So combinedly, we are putting executive and parliament on one side, judiciary on the other side, and we are going to have a discussion. Now the point is that who is more powerful? I told you one example, National Judicial Appointments Commission. Of course, each one is trying for its domination. If you look at number of judges in the Supreme Court, who will decide? Parliament has to decide. Salaries and allowances of the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts, everything will be decided by the Parliament from time to time. So meaning the judiciary does not have the right to increase its own salaries under the provisions of the Constitution. So meaning that is controlled by, on the other side, it's controlled by the Parliament. At the same time, the Constitution also has provided a provision where a judge of the Supreme Court or a judge of the High Court can be removed by the Parliament. Of course, no Supreme Court judge and no High Court judge has been removed so far. That's a different issue. So, meaning, so this is nothing but the checks and balances. If Parliament is going in something wrong direction, in the opposition in the opposite direction of the provisions of the Constitution, Supreme Court has the right to rectify this. At the same time, Supreme Court, the structure can also be controlled and maintained by the so-called the Parliament. That is the reason why, so that they have the co-equal powers and no organ has been given the supremacy over the other. But now, so whatever I am going to talk to you now, it's really interesting since beginning and also always there in the news. So now let's try to see. Now, for example, when I was talking to you with respect to Arunachal Pradesh, the speaker, right, I was talking to you the situation before the so-called imposition of the president's rule. Now the president's rule is over. You have a new chief minister, but still the case is pending in the Supreme Court. Is that okay? So how come you remove the chief minister directly? And how come you remove the speaker directly? But according to the governor, so they followed every provision of the Constitution. So the governor claims that there is no violation of the Constitution. But still it has been questioned in the court of law. Meaning the decisions of the executive, the decisions of the legislatures have been questioned in the Parliament, in the Supreme Court. Is it okay? So obviously, executive is not happy. Parliament is not happy. Parliament means in Arunachal Pradesh, I am talking about the state legislatures. So these are the things that are going to come up, and the scene is not at all a fair scene that is happening in the country. For example, here, with respect to Punjab and Haryana, Sutlej Yamuna Canal, Supreme Court has issued the orders. Supreme Court has issued the orders of maintaining the status quo. But what Punjab government has done in the Punjab state legislature, they passed a resolution against the decision of the Supreme Court. I am talking about the legislature, state legislature versus the so-called Supreme Court. So meaning who is supreme? So these are the things that must be happened. Say for example, because it happened in Punjab, tomorrow it may happen in any state. And if every state is starts violating the directions that are given by the Supreme Court, then what will happen? If the government violates the directions that are given by the High Court, then what will happen? So where is this balance will take place? There will be no balance, and that will lead to chaos in the country. That is the reason why there is a necessity of looking into the depth of the Constitution today, and you have to revive and review the constitutions. Another live example, let me tell you. I am talking to you with respect to the so-called what happened in Andhra Pradesh. See here, this may happen in any state. And if you are going for the interview, please look at your own state. If anything happened in the recent past, please talk about that if there is a question in the interview. If you are going for any examination in the nearest future, definitely these will be the questions and you have to write it very clearly. Is it clear? That's number one. Number two. So let me talk to you with respect to what happened in Andhra Pradesh state legislatures. The government, the chief minister is Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, one of the top leaders in the country, a senior politician. He is the present chief minister of Andhra Pradesh. So in the recent assembly session, so one of the women members in the assembly who belongs to opposition party, she has been suspended for a period of 1 year. She has been suspended for a period of 1 year. Assembly elections took place in the year 2014. We are in the year 2016, not even 2 years. And from now, she has been suspended for a period of 1 year because she has been alleged that she used some derogatory language, unparliamentary language on the floor of the House. Speaker took it seriously. Of course, the House also moved a motion, and accordingly, she has been suspended for 1 year. Remember, I am talking about the legislature, and the legislature has taken a decision. And the Constitution of India has given enormous powers to the speakers. Maybe the speaker in the Lok Sabha, chairman in the Rajya Sabha, or speaker in the assembly at the state level, or the chairman in the legislative council at the state level. Enormous powers have been given. It is expected that the decisions that are taken by the speaker are not subject to judicial review. They are not subjected to be challenged in the court of law. So this is what is expected. Am I clear? So now let me tell you one important point. So with respect to this particular stage, the decision has been taken by the speaker and that woman member has been suspended for a period of 1 year. Immediately she has approached the Supreme Court of India, challenged the decision of the speaker. How come I be suspended for 1 year? Supreme Court advised that particular person to go to the concerned High Court, Hyderabad High Court. So meaning the decision of a particular office called speaker, who is a part of the state legislature, has been challenged in the judiciary. Hope you are getting me. Important points. So now this person has moved the High Court. Single judge bench has quashed the orders of the so-called the speaker, and the single High Court judge, single bench judge, he said that the orders have been nullified and she has to be permitted to enter into the assembly. She should be permitted to take part in the session, and the single judge, he postponed the matter for 4 weeks. So meaning the suspension has been moved, and she has been permitted to attend the house. So now the government took it very seriously at the state level. It is the speaker, one of the constitutional authorities. He took a decision and suspended that person. And of course, in every assembly, there are various rules. One of the rules is that Rule 340. The single judge bench, it said very clearly that under Rule 340, a person can be suspended for a maximum period of that session only. Meaning, if you want to suspend that person, you can suspend for that session and not beyond that. But kindly remember, speaker has enormous powers under various clauses in the, maybe in the parliament or the state legislature. If you want to suspend a person for the term of the entire house, for the term of the rest of the term of the house, you can suspend. Is that okay? But under Rule 340, a person can be suspended only for the concerned the current session, not beyond that. So obviously, this is considered to be a loophole in the judgment of the so-called the speaker. See here, while talking about the polity classes, I was telling you, speaker is a Khasi judicial authority. Speaker is not a judge. Speaker is not a judicial authority. But within his purview, he has been permitted to take some decisions, and those decisions will be implemented. Hence, speaker is considered to be Khasi judicial authority, means semi-judicial authority. Is that okay? So this is the point that was taken by the judge, and the judge has removed quashed the suspension. So and she wanted to enter into this assembly, which is currently going on, and she has been stopped by the so-called the security authorities. Meanwhile, the government has moved the so-called the higher bench, the division bench. and that is going to come up for the hearing tomorrow. So how come the decision of the speaker can be challenged in the high courts? This is the question that is raised. That's the reason why, again, this is there in the news. So now this is the war between the judiciary and the so-called the legislatures. Is it okay? So this is not just happening in one state. This is not just happening only in the parliament, and it will keep on continuing this. Is it okay? So I gave you various examples like, this is what happened in Punjab, what happened in Arunachal Pradesh, and what happened with respect to National Judicial Appointments Commission. Is that okay? And I also spoke to you regarding the so-called the Andhra Pradesh. Is it okay? And a similar type of thing may also happen in the nearest future in Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand, the same thing is going to happen in Uttarakhand also. So even that may be challenged. I am not saying that it is going to be challenged. That may be challenged even in the court of law. So these are the places where, so there is a dispute and the conflict that is happening between the parliament and the judiciary. Is it okay? Kindly remember, when I am using the word parliament, I am talking about the legislature. This legislature may be the union legislature. This legislature may be at the state legislature. Is it okay? And kindly remember, anyone who is going to attend the civil services interview, especially if you are from Punjab and Haryana, especially if you are from Arunachal Pradesh or Andhra Pradesh, or if someone is from the so-called Uttarakhand, in specific, this may be a question. Okay, so kindly answer very carefully. And in general, it may be a question for all the candidates who are appearing to the interview. So this time, is that okay? So kindly follow this particular point very carefully and frame your answers. Okay, and try to give the answer with logic and rationality. So these are the two words which I mention every time. Is that okay? So that's about this particular one. And last but not least, the most happiest thing for India is that yesterday's cricket match between India and Pakistan, and as usual, like in every World Cup happens. Okay, it's not a surprise. Rather, the match was so exciting. Is it okay? So because it is a World Cup match, okay, and India since beginning it is dominating over Pakistan's, and of course lots of excitement will be there. So whenever we play cricket match with Pakistan, but never in the history of the World Cups, India did not lose even a single match to the so-called the Pakistans. Is it okay? And we congratulate India, and special congrats and appreciation for Virat Kohli. Excellent match. India lost three quick wickets, and there was a tension. Is that okay? But everything went on well after Yuvraj comes into the picture, right? So lots of maturity these two have shown, and as usual at the end, Mr. Dhoni, the best finisher as far as one-day internationals are concerned. Fine. So he played extremely well, and entire India, entire India, and every Indian is so happy for finishing the match. That was a fantastic match. Of course, in the beginning there was a threat, like this whether the match will be conducted or not. Clear because of the heavy rain in Kolkata, and luckily, so the rain god also blessed it, and finally, so the match went on. Of course, 2 overs were cut, so it was a 18 overs each side the match, and it was really fantastic. Dhoni on the toss, and India on the this one day match against Pakistan, right? And hopefully India will keep the same spirit, and India will be winning the tournament. Okay, so we all wish Team India a very good luck. Is that okay? So thank you so much for being with me this evening. I will see you tomorrow evening with some other topic. Till then, I wish you all the very best. Take a very good care of yourself. Thank you.